Hi, it's Stacy, and we are Loving My Veteran, and this is Walking in My Shoes. I'm going to take a minute this morning and get ourselves all situated here, have a little cup of coffee, and just want to tell everybody good morning and hope y'all are getting ready for the holidays and Thanksgiving and all coming up. Today's topic is kind of stemming from a post I read in another group, and something that we usually don't want to talk about. We're going to talk about depression and suicide and how it does increase during the holiday season. It is real. It is something that, um, turn the ringer off on this, sorry. It is something that does happen, and making a plan is incredibly important during this time. So, as our holidays approach, suicide attempts nationwide go up, depression increases, suicide rates go up, and we already know that the veteran population has the highest percentage of suicides. So it's just something we have to be aware of to look for warning signs and things that we can do to enjoy our holidays. But what happens even before the holidays at any time when your veteran talks about or says, I want to die? I don't want to go on. We have this trust that we're trying to build with our veteran. And so the question becomes, if they're saying they want to die and they're not acting on it at the present moment, what do we do? What are our resources? What options do we have? Because I'm going to tell you firsthand as a paramedic, you can't imagine the number of people I've been to that their family member said, I want to die, and nobody acted on it. And then I'm standing there consoling that family. So you work this fine line, this fine balancing act in at what point do I betray their trust to get them help that they don't become angry and resentful and hateful and blame me for it. And my answer is simple. I'd rather them be angry at me and be alive than not. And that sounds like a simple answer, but I'm not in that situation with mine. I'm not in that situation with Carl. I've never been put in that situation where I have to make that decision. So I started doing some research and talking to people to kind of give us a better understanding of where we are. We've often heard, and people said one of the responses was, if your veteran is saying he wants to die, he's really not going to do it. That's not true. Statistically, that is not true. Um, and I go back to my very dear friend, Janine Lutz, and her son literally gave her his gun and said, Mom, this is how I feel. And he went to the VA and got help and was saw the psychologist and psychiatrist and was given medicine for depression. And then he had some pain issues going on, and they sent him to the primary who gave him pain medicine. And then they sent him home, and he overdosed. So when you say that I feel like I may take my own life, and people say, well, they don't really mean that. If they're saying that, they don't mean that. They can very well mean that. So it is a tough thing and a tough balancing act with where do you go? What do you do? So we have to be very vigilant in thinking about this. Again, one of the key things that I think every spouse, partner, caregiver, whatever you want to call it, is if your veteran is on medication for their PTSD, please, please, please research the side effects. The side effects of many of these medications can be suicidal ideations or suicidal thoughts. So let's say that your veteran is taking some medication that was prescribed by the VA, and these are the side effects. And you don't feel like your veteran is in imminent danger, but he says, "Look, I'm done. I want out. I want to die." At that point, reach out to their care team. Um, reach out to their care team. Say, "Look, my veteran is on this. This is what they're saying. I don't feel that it's imminent, but he is talking about this," because sometimes it can be as simple as titrating the drug down. So please reach out to their care team. That is critically important. Um, you know that we have the Veterans Crisis Line, and there's some things that we need to know going into that when we talk to them. First of all, everything that is said on that line is confidential. Okay, everything that is said on that line is confidential. So be aware that a lot of times our veterans feel like if we we utilize the crisis line, that we are divulging information about them. It's going to go in their medical record, and there's a fear again that our veterans have that they're going to label them suicidal. They're going to do this, and they're going to say they can't. They already have another label. Anything that goes to that crisis line is confidential. It cannot be shared with their I'm sorry. It cannot be shared with their primary care provider. Okay, so that is important that you understand that, and that your veteran will eventually understand that. So it is very important that you know that going in. So let me just give you that number. It is important that if you don't have it, that you do have that number. It is a 24/7 number, crisis intervention. It also is the same number as the National Suicide Hotline. Okay, so the difference is that when you call and state that it is veteran that is calling, they will typically put you with somebody who deals with veterans specifically. But that number is 1-800-273-8255, and you can press 1 when you get on there. That's what they ask you to do. Um, you can also text them, which initially I thought was strange. I was talking to Jeremy, and I was like, "Okay, Jeremy, first of all, I have a really hard problem when you feel suicidal that you're going to call this number and press 1." Okay, I mean, like, okay, I'm ready to die now. Let me call a number and say I'm ready and I need help, and then I don't feel important enough, but I have to press 1. And I said, that just kind of blows my mind. And he said, "Stacy, it is important." He said, "But there is also a way to text them." And I said, "So you're going to text these people?" And he said, "Yep. A lot of times when you text them, it is more distant and you don't feel the personal connection. And so you don't mind sharing more information." And I never realized that from the veteran's perspective. But when Jeremy got to that point, and that was part of the story he has shared, his wife and daughter were visiting her family, and he was there with his teenage son, or with his son upstairs. And Jeremy was at his end, and he felt like taking his own life. And it was at that moment that he realized that Cameron, if he did that, would be the one to find him. And so he reached out for help. So the text number to the crisis line is 838-255. So you put that in and you text them, and then it becomes more personal. So even as the partner, the caregiver, whatever, you can text that crisis line, or you can call that crisis line. And you can talk to somebody there and they can give you advice, professional advice based on your unique individual situation. And that information is not divulged. You do not have to give name. You do not have to give anything other than, hey, my veteran has threatened suicide. I am concerned. What can I do? So that is an avenue and an avenue that we should utilize. Um, if it is intimate, you definitely need to break. Just call 911. Call 911. I know it's tough. You're going to end up with police there, and you're going to end up with an ambulance there. And some of them said, well, the problem is that if your veteran says I don't feel suicidal right now, they won't take them. If you have enough evidence that this is how they feel, 90% of the time they will take them. 90% of the time they will take them, especially if they're saying it. And I don't want to be that you should break their confidence at this point, but if you feel, you know your veteran better than anybody, if you feel suicide is imminent, you definitely need to call, hit the record button on your phone, play that back to the first responder to show up. And at that point, it becomes a substantiated threat. And most states require a 72-hour hold for crisis intervention. Okay. Um, Not saying that that's the trust we want to betray, but it is an option. Now, another resource that is available to us, and I was super excited when I called these people yesterday to find the number. The VA has a caregiver support line. Um, it's a little more lengthy to get through the prompts in that, but that number is 855-260-3274. Um, it is really nice people. I spoke to Tanya there, and she kind of really explained what that caregiver support line does. It is not a crisis line. So if suicide is imminent, you need to be calling the suicide crisis prevention line. But if your veteran is depressed and is thought about it or talked about it and you just need resources, you can call them. They will give you all the resources. They will talk you through what you need to do, suggestions for you, resources available. Again, this is also confidential until you give them your veteran's name, date of birth, and social. At that point, if you feel that they will reach out to the appropriate department in the VA, to their connected care system, they will reach out to them and they will set up referrals and appointments. So again, everything you need to help get you through that is there on those numbers. And I think that was some of the fears that we have is we betray their trust. So you can get help without betraying their trust. You can reach out for resources without betraying their trust. And that is super, super important. Um, there are vet centers that are available for counseling. They are not connected to a VA hospital, and they are an amazing resource. Something I found out yesterday, and I know this is probably not the normal walking in my shoes that we normally do, but I just felt like coming into the holiday, we really needed to talk about the realities of what's available so you have it as a resource. Um, if your veteran has not been seen by the VA in the past year, okay, they are not actively enrolled. They are still in their local VA system, but it is not what they call active, so they do not have a care team. To make sure that that resource is available if you need it in in an emergency situation, like counseling quicker and not having the wait times, your veteran needs to make sure that once every 12 months they stay active an active enrollment with the VA, with their local VA, whichever the coordinating hospital is in your area. So it is important that they do that. Carl and I were talking about it. He hasn't been in 2 years from something he had going on. And I said, hey, we need to get you back in the system. He's like, yeah, you do. So it's just something that after it has changed, it used to be 2 years, so it is now a year if you have not been in a year. So that's just kind of something else that is available. Um, Also, the times that if your veteran is depressed and doesn't want help just on a normal basis is having a PTSD moment, there is coaching into care, and they kind of give you resources to help you get your veteran to coach them to get into some form of care. And that number is 1-888-823-7458. So that's also available. So I just wanted to put that out there for all of y'all so that you really understand that these are numbers, and kind of get rid of some of the the people's impressions about what happens when you call, what happens as far as breaking their trust. Even in a crisis, if you text that crisis line, you can text on behalf of your veteran, and then your veteran will hear you having that conversation, and they will help you determine what avenue and how intimate that danger is. So it's very important that you do that. One other number I'm going to put out there is, I know that sometimes when our veterans get in a spot, the rage and the anger tend to overpower. And unfortunately, there are a few situations where violence becomes in the household. And a lot of times in some of the support groups, I see these spouses say, I have nowhere to go. I'm living this, and he's laid his hands on me. I have a black eye. I mean, they've actually posted pictures. Is the National Domestic Violence Hotline, that is also a confidential anonymous line, but that number is 1-800-799-SAFE, and it's 1-800-799-7233. So if you find yourself in a situation and you get out of the house, you can call that number at any time, and they will get you to the local resources that can help you from going back into an unsafe environment. I know it's not necessarily something we want to talk about going into Thanksgiving, but it is a reality. Depression is a huge reality, um, and not just for veterans. I mean, we all go through depression coming into the holidays. It is something that is prevalent a lot of times. And I think with COVID going on, we see ourselves in a totally different situation. Our holidays are going to be different than they've ever been before. Our holiday experience is going to be different than it's ever been before. So having understanding that our depression may also show its ugly head is something that we really talk about. Tomorrow, living in my shoes, walking in my shoes, we're going to talk about like getting through the holidays and things that are fun to do and things that are different that we can do to help alleviate some of the overall depression, and how we can include our veteran in our holiday plans, and just all kinds of things that we probably didn't think about. But y'all, self-care this going into this holiday season is so important. And I encourage all of y'all to find some form of self-care. I know that sounds tough, and I hear it all the time, Stacey. I can't take care of myself. I'm taking care of everybody else. It is important. It is truly important, and I don't care if it's a cup of coffee by yourself, cup of coffee and call your girlfriend, um, watch a Hallmark movie, even if you have to watch it in pieces. Do something for yourself. Do something for yourself. I have gotten away from doing Christmas cards because we do everything virtual. The one thing I decided this morning is, I'm going to go buy Christmas cards and I'm going to go mail Christmas cards because think about it. Now, all these people that aren't getting gifts and surprises and feeling in the warm, touchy, lovey, feely things. If you're in that moment of depression and you're just like, oh, we're gonna have a holiday, but we can't go anywhere, we can't get our families, we can't do this, we can't do that. Holiday as we knew it isn't gonna exist. If you got a Christmas card in the mailbox and you went to open the mailbox and all of a sudden there was this Christmas card from somebody that says, I'm thinking about you, that is pretty impressive. So we're going to do Christmas cards to help me with me feeling better about me. So that's kind of an important thing. Um, so please take care of yourself. Again, let me just reiterate how I feel about the suicide thing. It's very real. Um, that feeling is very real. And if I didn't learn to take care of myself, and if it wasn't for my veteran, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So it can happen to anybody. It doesn't just happen to our veterans. It's happening to them at an alarming rate, but it can happen to anybody. And that day I felt that way. And you know my story. And for Carl to sit there literally in the dirt on top of me and say, you matter to me. And he fought for me that night. And I'm here. And I'm grateful he did. So we need to be ready to fight should we need to. We need to have our resources lined up and in our head. Another great option, and we're not being able to do this as much because depending on what state you're in, VFWs aren't meeting. So a lot of those resources where veterans went out and saw other veterans not happening. But when your veteran is feeling down, you don't have to go to him and say, look, I know you're all depressed and you're all feeling that. Don't, because remember when we start telling them how that they are defective in reality, it doesn't work real well. Say, babe, look, you know, the holidays are all coming up. Maybe you want to check on Fred. Or like in my case, I can tell Carl, maybe you need to check on Jeremy. And so what will he do? He'll reach out to Jeremy. He'll text him or call him or he'll do whatever. And in reality, he thinks he's helping his buddy, which he is, but he's also helping himself. So giving them that tool to, hey, why don't you reach out to, the holidays are coming, he had a tough time last year. Why don't you reach out? See how they're doing. That is a good out. That is a good out as you see this stuff start to unfold in them. So, I know this is not the best walking in my shoes I've ever done, but it's just one we have to address. We can't not talk about the realities of suicide. We cannot not talk about that. So yeah, the day you have to pick up the phone, the day you have to make them mad, the day you have to make them angry, it's better than sitting there in a chair in front of a casket and having some man hand you a folded. So I always think of it in terms. I always think of it that reaching out for help and dealing with his anger is still better than the folded. So y'all remember that. When you have to make that tough decision, hopefully you don't. But I want those resources there for you. I want you to know that that's available to you. I want you to understand that we as a community are here for you. So when you're at your wits' end too, because it's not always about the veteran. When you're at your wits' end too, that's what this group is for. That's when you reach out and you send us a message or you post on the page, hey, look, I'm having a situation. I just need some person time. You know, you can set up one-on-ones with me. You know, I don't mind reaching out to you if there's a crisis. We are here for you. That's what we do. We're a community and we uplift each other. That's what we're all about. Let me give you these numbers one more time because you know that we just need to really put that out. I will post them too. The um, Veteran Crisis Line, again, it is confidential. You don't have to give them anything. Just this is what's going on. Is 1-800-273-8255 and you press 1. Okay? It is anonymous, it is confidential resource, it is available to anyone, even if they're not registered with the VA or enrolled in VA healthcare. So do not think that that's what's going to happen. When you call them, a trained responder will answer your call. He's going to ask you a few questions as to whether you are the veteran or a service member, or if you're concerned that it might be an imminent danger at risk for suicide. And you can decide what to share about yourself or your veteran at that point. That is completely confidential. They will continue to talk to you, right? They're also available for text, and that number is 838-255. So you may also text them that number. Again, caregiver support, and there are a lot of prompts you have to go through because it is, talking about getting all the resources are on there if you're applying for caregiver support. But there is an option to talk to a live person. So if you're having a situation or just not a crisis now, but a situation where you've kind of had enough and you need professional, what are my options for my particular veteran? That number is 1-855-260-3274, and they can set you up with counseling as well, like online life coach kind of counseling, just kind of talking through that. So they're available. Um, and when you need to get your veteran some help and you're not quite sure how to get them into care, there is coaching into care. That is 1-888-823-7458. Be also aware that the crisis line is available 24/7. The other numbers are available during some office hours. I'm almost positive caregiver supports till 11 p.m. If you find yourself in a violent situation and you need to get out, or you're out and you need help because you're afraid to get back home, it's the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and that number is 1-800-799-SAFE. And it's 1-800-799-7233. Again, I think that one of the fears everybody has is, well, we're going to put our information out there and then we're going to come run it. They're not. These are all confidential, anonymous numbers. Only when you choose to share more will they send you the resources that you need. So sometimes they're just there to talk to you. Sometimes they're just there to offer the different resources that are available so you have a plan. Um, but that's what they're there for. They're not going to show up with the cavalry unless the suicide is actively going on. And at that point, gun to head, handful of pills that they've swallowed, knife, whatever. That point, you need to call 911. That is a huge thing. Please don't become a family member that people like me had to. Please don't be there. Y'all know we're here for you. We love you. Um, we love our veterans, and we just wanted to give you all the information so you didn't have false information out there. Tomorrow we're going to really talk about some fun stuff and getting ready for the holidays and whatever. So we have a lot going on. We will not be on, obviously, on Thursday. We're going to have Thanksgiving. Um, so that will not be there. I will do probably schedule some more time on Friday and Wednesdays if people need it, and we might even do a few little group things going on if somebody needs it. We're gonna put out a lot of fun stuff on the pages this week, going into the holiday season of things we can do together. I know that we will be setting the date shortly. We're gonna have a Zoom gingerbread decorating contest. So gingerbread house building contest. So please go out and get your gingerbread kits because we're going to decorate them together and kind of have a little fun doing that. And we'll put that date out as well. So we'll be able to talk and just have a lot of fun. And look for the cookie sharing on the group page so we can share recipes for cookies and kind of do our own cookie thing. There'll also be a link that Christmas cards if you want to participate in a Christmas card thing, put your address and we can all kind of just decide who wants to mail out cards. It's no commitment either one way or the other, but if you want to reach out and just get something cool in the mail, just a Christmas card of thanking you, there's no other obligation to that. That will also be on there today. Um, Carl and I are I'm gonna wrap this up and we're gonna finish packing up and go home. We've spent a wonderful few days with my mom and love it and love her. Um, but we're gonna go home. We have chickens that probably are starving. We like to eat, so we're gonna go home and take care of those. And he told me I can officially decorate for Christmas on Thanksgiving. So I'm all excited, and he's even agreed to help. If I could just get him to say it on video, it would be even better. But he has agreed to help. So we will. We'll be talking about holidays going tomorrow. A lot of fun stuff. I know this was a deeper topic than we normally do, but just something that had to be out there. But I will post all those numbers immediately. Y'all have a great day. Be safe. Get ready for your holidays. Make new memories, new traditions. I'm Stacy. This has been Walking in My Shoes, and we are loving my veteran. Have a great day.